Hello, everyone out there tuning in. Thanks for being here today. My name is Ashley Bickle. I work in the recruitment department at Loyalist College. And I'm so fortunate to have here with me today Dirk Wilson, program coordinator, as well as a professor with the project management program at Loyalist. Can you tell us a little bit about the project management program a little more in detail?
Our program, when we designed it, we ended up having different parts that we believe in terms of experiential learning. So it's not the illusion of learning, but it's the actual application of learning in itself. And as part of that, in our program, yes, you learn all of the content required to become a good project manager. But what happens is that the feedback that you get is immediate. And what I mean by that is that as we work through the different projects, one of the key things is that you learn, you get the knowledge, but that's not what the total part is. With our program, what ends up happening is that you apply that information immediately, and then you end up having feedback. And we have a 360-degree feedback loop, we call it. And that means that you, as a student, you provide feedback to your team members and to me as a faculty member. So you end up working on projects constantly, since this is a project management program. And one of the best ways of learning project management is by doing. And that means that we will do things. We will give you a scope. You will work on what the project is. So the class starts out by you get a bit of a lecture, a theory, we discuss it. And then what happens is, here's a task, here's your groups, and the groups get changed constantly, because in the professional world, as project managers, a lot of times you get put on a team where you become an accidental project manager. And that means that you end up having to work with whoever's been assigned to you. You have no choice. So teamwork is incredibly important. And that means that as you work, we have in the professional world, in the project management world, we call it lessons learned. And that's in the academic world, we call it reflection. So what happens is you will always get feedback, and that feedback is, okay, we did the project. Now, what are the lessons that you learned as a team, as an individual? What did you learn about yourself? And so that's really how it is. And part of our project also is the program is that the students also, we have what's called a student program quality assurance team. So there are 6 to 8 members on the team. 2 from half of them from second semester, half from first. And so as they go through the classes and programs, they end up evaluating part of the courses themselves and saying, this is what I learned, this is what's good, this worked really well. And they provide feedback to me as the coordinator, and then we move forward and make adjustments based on the recommendations that they make.
Some pretty unique and some interesting things. I love how students are able to learn by doing. I think that's
Yes.
a really key thing. So can you tell us a little bit more about how your students are learning?
In the first semester, we have what's called the Building the Applied project. So all the course stuff that you learn, you apply in the Building the Applied project. And then in the second semester, you actually have an applied project, which is a live project that you work on. We have partnerships with Habitat for Humanity. So we do live things. We do cross-program things as well. But the students work in projects and project teams. They have a project manager, they have a project leader. And so what happens is you have team members. So you actually have a full project management office that we develop, and you actually apply and build those projects. And that's one of the unique things. The other part of our program is that our second semesters are mentors to first semester students. So as the second semester graduates, the first semester now becomes a mentor to the second semester. So there's always a flow, even in terms of some of the delivery or some of the guest speaking in, let's say, the Building the Applied project. The students that had already taken the course and now are in second semester end up doing work and working with first semester students as well. So it's always a constant learning, a constant feedback from your peers and from faculty as well. So what it is, it's not you're the student, I'm the subject matter expert. Is okay, how do we achieve this? You're the part. What do you need me to do as a professor in part of your project? And so that's where the real application, the real learning takes place.
Very cool. So you kind of mentioned about some of the projects, you mentioned Habitat, for Humanity and different organizations that you guys work with. Can you tell us a little bit more about the actual projects themselves that you guys are doing and how, you're getting that experiential learning within your program?
Certainly. What happens is, for example, this past semester, unfortunately with the COVID right now, things have kind of slowed down in terms of because of the contact. So for Habitat for Humanity, we look at not only just the regular part of being volunteers. Some of the projects in mind is how do we expand the facility. So let's take a look at where we are. The projects also would entail, some of them are, for example, sustainability, going green. In Belleville, the Hastings, Prince Edward, and that Habitat for Humanity, one of the key things is that they have a large south-facing roof. So now we look at saying, how can we, maybe put in solar panels. Let's take a look at the inside. What are the projects to make it more energy efficient? How can we rearrange it and do it? Creating a knowledge database that is required. Looking at possibility of a whole sustainability or a whole Habitat for Humanity village. So as we go through, so our students become part of that planning process, and it becomes competitive because in the business world we may have to do what's called a request for proposal. And so the students actually have to prepare a proposal, then they have to do the research, and then they actually propose their solutions, their teams, to the director. And then the director picks and says, yeah, this is the top one, you won the contract. Now let's implement some of these changes. So we do things that are all pretty much to how we would do it in the professional and business world. This past semester, we worked with the Justice Studies and Media students and did a CAP, a community access project, a video to help students going into the court systems. The project management students were the project managers and leaders, and they kept the project on task, on part. They did all of the managing the project from beginning to end. But the implementation, because it was for the Justice Studies, we just became the advisors or the consultants in terms of how to manage the project.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what makes your program so unique? I know you touched about it a little bit earlier, but I'd love to hear more.
I'm a firm believer is that the student is responsible for their education. They need to take ownership of it. And so that's why we have the quality assurance, the student quality assurance team. We have, again, this semester in terms of the projects, I have project managers and they manage the student programs. So I don't necessarily communicate with all of the students in that part. I communicate with the project managers, and then they actually provide the leadership and whatever. I have status meetings currently through Zooms. We have meetings and meetings. So I'm part of the stakeholder, and so I listen to what they have and we implement it. So a lot of the stuff is real life. They work on projects independently and in groups. Then also what happens is we have, like I said, a mentoring program. So our second semester students mentor our first. So before the student even gets to our program, the second semester reaches out to the new incoming students and say, how can I help you? Are you moving to Belleville? What are the things? So they will help introduce you to the city of Belleville, introduce you to some of the things on campus that we have. If you have issues with programs or adding drop-in courses, they will help you through part of that process. So it's also about giving back and taking control of the program. So they're my partners in terms of how we manage the program. We'll have potlucks when we are on campus. So every semester, the second semester, we'll do a potluck for the first, and the first will also do one for the second. So it's celebrating community and culture and things of that part. And it's totally awesome to have experiencing different foods, because if we make it that you have to create a food from your culture. So because we are kind of an international part, you get to experience some pretty awesome foods. And again, like I said, from those parts, those are parts. But we also have a matriculation or advanced standings that a student can get with Northeastern University from Boston, which is a Tier 1 university out of the United States. And if you're looking at a part of studying it, you don't have to go to the US to study and get your Master's of Science. You can actually go to the campus in Toronto and continue there. So you can get 4 credits for after you graduate from our postgraduate programs. You can get 4 out of 5 credits automatically to become an advanced standing towards a master's. That's, you know, that's if you qualify for the degree having the appropriate entry qualifications.
I know our grads are quite successful. Can you tell us about some of those success stories that you've had from your program?
Certainly. We have another part too, is we have students who write their CAP-M, which is the Certified Associate in Project Management. And it's kind of instituted by the Project Management Institute. It's kind of a North American standard. The other one would be Prince 2, which is European standard. And what ends up happening is we've got students who have written the qualifications exams and have passed. So now they also have a designation, a new designation, which kind of gets them to a starting point in terms of the head of the line, so to speak. It says that, yes, you have a passion, you're working to it, you've graduated, you now understand some of the standards. So which is awesome in terms of that. Others have attained jobs that are not totally 100% in the project management field. So what I'm trying to say there is what we teach you are also transferable skills, the communication skills. PM just doesn't stand for project management. It stands for people management. It stands for process management and procedure management. So our focus is all based on the people aspect, but we teach you the technical side. And so that now means that we also have in part of our courses, you do interviews for jobs. So we show you how to analyze the job, how to prep for the job, how to do interviews for the job. And because you have to do so many presentations, we enhance your public speaking skills. So some of the students ended up getting jobs, for example, managing and as a procurement and logistics manager for a 50,000 square foot facility. Others are project coordinators for companies, and in that part, some have gotten jobs in Toronto and Scarborough as project administrators. So the jobs are achievable. They're there. One of our students, Shreya, had just who's graduating this semester, managed to get her CAP-M in the break in between December to January start. And then she got a job in Kingston as a project coordinator. So it's a matter of what I say is that you need to take your passion, you need to look at it. And again, as I say, you don't come to me with problems, you come to me with solutions, and that's ingrained. So the problem is I don't have a job. Solution is, how do I get that job? And then that's exactly how it is. So we teach all of these transferable skills that are not just project management based, but are life based. And that's what I tell the student is that, for example, is there such a thing as a life project? Project managers would say no, but let's take a look at our life. We have a beginning, which is we're born. We have an end, which means that we pass. And if we're lucky, some may go on to a second spiritual type of a life. And that's what project is. It has a beginning, it has an end, and it does something in the middle. And that's where we are. So I say when a student comes to our program, guess what? You're here on a project. This is a project from September to May, you graduate, then what's your next project? Where do you want to go? And so that's really how some of the students look at it, is that our program, it's a full-time job. And to be successful and gain all of the benefits of the program, you need to treat it as a full-time job, working on multiple projects at the same time.
Dirk, I thank you so much for joining us and speaking to this amazing postgrad program, Project Management. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're very welcome. Thank you, Ashley.
All right. See you later, guys. Bye.